Change is one of the most uncomfortable truths of life. We say we want growth, progress, and peace, but when life actually changes, we resist it. A relationship ends, a plan fails, a version of ourselves disappears, and suddenly the mind asks, why is this happening to me? More than 2,500 years ago, Buddha said something simple, yet deeply unsettling. All conditioned things are impermanent. This wasn't meant to scare us, it was meant to free us. Today, we'll explore the psychology of change through Buddha's path to acceptance, why change hurts, why we fight it, and how acceptance transforms suffering into peace. Let's begin with a hard truth. Suffering doesn't come from change itself, it comes from our refusal to accept it. Psychologically, the human brain is designed to seek safety and predictability. Familiar patterns feel secure even when they're painful. That's why people stay in unhealthy relationships, cling to old identities, or repeat habits that no longer serve them. Buddha called this attachment. Attachment to people, attachment to outcomes, attachment to who we think we are. When something changes, attachment panics. The mind says, this shouldn't be happening. This isn't how my life was supposed to go. And in that resistance, suffering is born. Buddha taught that everything in life follows three marks of existence: impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self. Impermanence means everything changes. Unsatisfactoriness means nothing can permanently satisfy us. Non-self means there is no fixed, permanent identity. Most of our psychological pain comes from forgetting these truths. We believe happiness should last. We believe pain should end quickly. We believe we should stay the same. But life doesn't work that way. Think about how you experience change. When something ends, the mind rushes to the past. It replays memories. It asks, what if? It imagines how things could have been different. This is the mind trying to regain control. Neuroscience tells us that uncertainty activates the brain's threat system. The unknown feels dangerous, so the mind clings to certainty, even if that certainty is suffering. Buddha saw this clearly. He taught that craving for certainty is one of the deepest causes of suffering. We don't just want things to be good, we want them to stay good. But permanence is an illusion. Buddha's path to acceptance begins with awareness, not positive thinking, not denial, but clear seeing. He encouraged observing change instead of fighting it. Notice how emotions rise and fall. Notice how thoughts appear and disappear. Notice how the body ages, heals, and changes. When you observe instead of resist, something remarkable happens. The mind softens. Acceptance doesn't mean liking change. It means stopping the war against reality. Most people misunderstand acceptance. They think it means giving up. But psychologically, acceptance is the opposite of resignation. Acceptance says, this is what is happening right now. Resistance says, this should not be happening. One creates peace, the other creates exhaustion. Buddha taught that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is the event, suffering is the story we tell about it. When change happens, pain may arise. Sadness, fear, confusion, but suffering begins when the mind says, I can't live with this. Acceptance removes that second arrow. Imagine being hit by an arrow. That's pain. Now imagine being hit by a second arrow because you're angry, ashamed, or blaming yourself. That's suffering. Change fires the first arrow, resistance fires the second. Buddha's path teaches us how to drop the second arrow. One of the most powerful practices he taught is mindful observation, sitting with change instead of running from it. When a thought arises, observe it. When an emotion arises, observe it. When fear appears, observe it. Don't push it away, don't identify with it, just notice. This creates psychological space. Modern psychology calls this decentering, the ability to see thoughts and emotions as events in the mind, not absolute truths. Buddha taught this long before modern science. When you stop saying, "This is happening to me," and start saying, "This is happening," suffering loosens its grip. Another key teaching is non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean not caring, it means not clinging. You can love deeply without clinging. You can work hard without being attached to outcomes. You can grow without needing control. Attachment says, "I need this to be a certain way to be okay." Non-attachment says, "I will be okay even if this changes." This is psychological freedom. Think about how often your peace depends on external conditions. If people behave a certain way, if plans work out, if life matches expectations. Buddha taught that as long as peace depends on conditions, it will always be fragile. True peace comes from flexibility, like a tree that bends in the wind instead of breaking. Change is the wind, acceptance is the flexibility. Another profound insight from Buddha is the idea of non-self. We suffer because we believe we are fixed identities. I am this kind of person. This is who I am. This is my role. But life constantly asks us to evolve. When an identity collapses, a job, a relationship, a belief, it feels like we're losing ourselves. But Buddha taught that there is no permanent self to lose. You are a process, not a product. Understanding this changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of resisting change, you learn from it. This doesn't make change painless, but it makes it meaningful. Buddha also taught the importance of compassion, especially toward yourself during times of change. We often judge ourselves harshly when life shifts. We think we should be stronger, more positive, more in control. But self-judgment adds another layer of suffering. Acceptance begins with kindness. Allow yourself to grieve what has changed. Allow yourself to feel uncertain. Allow yourself not to have all the answers. Change is not a personal failure. It is a natural process. One of Buddha's most calming teachings is this: nothing is worth holding on to at the cost of your peace. When you cling to what is already changing, you exhaust yourself. When you let go, energy returns. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting, it means loosening the grip. You stop demanding that reality be different, and in that surrender, peace arises. The psychology of change teaches us that the mind suffers when it tries to freeze life. Buddha teaches us to flow with it. Acceptance doesn't come overnight. It is a practice, a daily choice. Each time you notice resistance, soften. Each time you notice fear, breathe. Each time you notice clinging, release. Over time, the mind learns that change is not an enemy, it is a teacher. Every ending carries the seed of a beginning. Every loss creates space. Every change invites growth. Buddha's path to acceptance is not about escaping life, it's about meeting life fully as it is. When you stop fighting change, you stop fighting yourself. And in that stillness, you discover a quiet truth. You were never meant to stay the same.